Zhu Huan was an able and talented general of Wu, who best served Sun Quan when he commanded over Rushu in 222 and defeated Cao Ren while being underhanded in men. He described Cao Ren as mediocre just prior to the fighting. He was born in Wu Commandery in 176 or 177 to one of the four most influential clans of the area at that time. He started his career under general who attacked barbarian Sun Quan's early years, whose leadership throughout this period would be characterized by his ability to find men of talent and entrust important matters to them. For the next several years, Sun Quan was largely interested in expanding against the Shanhua Hill tribes, so launched numerous campaigns against them. When a plague broke out in Yuyao County, the cost of supplies skyrocketed, so Zhu Huan opened the county office's granary gates and distributed food to the people. He made his subordinates hand out medicine to those affected by the plague, which earned him deep respect from the locals. Even though he hadn't received any important duties by Sun Quan, he was still appointed as a colonel to lead 2,000 troops. They were sent to find the people who had scattered earlier to avoid the plague, where, after some years of effort, Zhu Huan managed to resettle 10,000 people back to Wu and Kuaji. From the late 200s to around 222, Zhu Huan still didn't receive any important responsibilities, while most of the other military officers actively fought in battles. While his colleagues were fighting on the front lines, he quelled rebellions in Danyang and Poyang, so to recognize his success, Sun Quan enfeoffed Zhu Huan over Xincheng village and promoted him to a major general. It was when Zhou Cai passed away in 222 that Sun Quan picked Zhu Huan to succeed him as the area commander over the fortress at Rushu. When he arrived to his new post, Cao Pi's three-pronged invasion of Wu was underway, with news that Cao Ren was leading his troops towards Xianzi. This false information had been purposefully leaked with the intention of leading defenders away from Rushu, and Zhu Huan was duped, sending away all but 5,000 troops to guard the fortress. The defenders became afraid when Cao Ren's tens of thousands of men showed up, as not only were they outnumbered, but their families were out living on Zhongzhou Island in the middle of the river. Zhu Huan soon realized his mistake, but there was no time to recall his soldiers before the attack. Cao Ren's army experienced great success initially, by destroying all of the Wu armies in the field. Within the city, Zhu Huan asked his men, "You have all heard of Cao Ren, but what do you think of his military ability compared to mine?" Whenever two armies fight, the commanders determine the outcome of the battle, not the size of the invading force. It should be double in size of the defending force when on flat ground and with equal morale, and as of now we occupy a high-walled fortress north of a river and south to a mountain. Those poor exhausted soldiers are faint-hearted from marching so far. Cao Ren really is neither wise nor brave. If this situation recurs 100 times, we will win 100 battles, and even if Cao Pi himself arrives, the situation is still favoured towards us, so why should we worry about the likes of Cao Ren? Zhu Huan had already sent Yan Gui to lay traps all over Zhongzhou, so sent the rest of his men into hiding. Then the flags and drums were also taken down to create the illusion of weakness. Cao Ren believed that the enemy army was smaller than it was, so sent his son Cao Dai forward while he remained at the rear to provide support. His son led the Wei main force to attack the city, while he sent Cheng Diao and Wang Shuang to launch a surprise attack onto Zhongzhou Island. Timing for the right moment, Zhu Huan led his men out to surprise Cao Dai. He put a stop to his march outside of the fort, then the Wu men tried to infiltrate through the battle lines towards the Wei camps. On Zhongzhou Island, Yan Gui's ambush troops quickly captured the Wei ships after they docked, then Chen Diao was killed in an ambush. When the rest of the detachment realized that they were trapped, 1,000 soldiers drowned trying to escape, but Wang Shuang and the others were taken prisoner. This created a moment of recovery, where Zhu Huan was able to recall his scattered soldiers, while the men outside Rushu successfully burnt down the enemy camps. After several months of furious battle, disease and loss of life took enough of a toll on the Wei army that Cao Pi decided to order Cao Ren to retreat, securing victory for Zhu Huan. Sun Quan promoted him, granted him as a marquis over Jiaxing, and appointed him as the nominal chancellor of Pengcheng Commandery. 6 years later, at the Battle of Shiting, he proposed to Lu Xun that they could easily capture Cao Ziyu by blocking his retreat route. Lu Xun rejected his idea, and had him and Chuan Kong lead their men to attack the left and right flanks instead. Zhu Huan as a man always wanted to be a leader, and was ashamed when he was put under the orders of others. He would act enraged and resentful when he was in battle and couldn't act as he wanted, but he still valued righteousness. When Cao Xiu's army showed up at Shiting, he followed Lu Xun's order and struck their flanks, leading to tens of thousands of casualties. The Wei army was thrown into disarray and the troops scattered. Throughout his career, Zhu Huan often used his wealth to help his subordinates and their families, which is why his army became distraught when they found out he had fallen sick. After his death in 238, they greatly mourned him, but his family didn't own much property by that time. They were so poor that Sun Quan had to provide them with financial aid to hold a decent funeral for him, where all of his soldiers along with their families came to pay their respects.